Thank you for joining us for our discussion with local House of Delegates candidates. We're joined today by Democrat Shelly Simonds of the 94th District in Newport News. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This is a rematch of the 2017 race, which was nothing short of wild. It was decided by your opponent's name being pulled out of, I don't think it was a hat, I think it was a bowl.
Yes.
So that was just a crazy finish. This is a rematch. This time around, what do you think is different?
Well, we have a new district in Newport News, and we're really excited about getting to know new voters. Newport News is an urban city, so there are a lot of issues that haven't gotten attention in the General Assembly that we really need to work on. Issues like criminal justice reform and gun safety are really important to voters in my new district.
You'd mentioned those new voters, and for those who may be new to the district, tell us your background.
So I have experience as a journalist back in the day, and then in Newport News I worked as a part-time Spanish teacher at Hilton Elementary School and loved teaching, but really fell in love with teachers and have continued to be an advocate for teachers as a school board member in Newport News since 2012. And once I joined the school board, I realized that I could do more at the state level in terms of getting funding for our schools and getting programs started for our students. So I'm really excited to get up to the General Assembly so I can continue to fight for our families.
Newport News has some schools, I think the number is 14, that are not fully accredited. What needs to be done?
You know, we are making progress on our schools. I am very proud. Our math scores have increased this year in every school, but we do have our challenges and we are working on that. We need to make sure we have excellent teachers in the classroom and that students have more time with our excellent teachers. That's why I've been a big advocate for summer programs in Newport News. I helped establish, along with the rest of the school board, a summer program called Spark. We started out with about 1,000 students, and now we're up to 7,000 students in this summer program. And that, you know, out-of-school learning is really going to make a big difference for our students. Another thing I'm proud of is our graduation rates in Newport News are the highest in the peninsula, and we're going to keep working on those graduation rates.
As you go around the district, besides education, what else are voters concerned about or interested in?
You know, I hear a lot about healthcare at the doors. I've had a couple experiences where people have told me about losing a job when they're in their 50s before they qualify for Medicare. And it can be a very scary thing because you lose your job, but you also lose your health insurance. You might lose access to your prescriptions and the cost of your medications may skyrocket. And I'm very concerned about making sure Virginia does more about the high cost of prescription drugs. And I have a plan for when I get elected where we can create a drug price affordability board in Virginia that would be able to cap the prices of some of our essential prescription drugs if there's an increase that goes up too high. It would take a couple years to get there, but I'm really excited to start that effort.
Let's talk about gun violence, particularly in the wake of the mass shooting in Virginia Beach. It's on a lot of people's minds. What kind of legislation do you support? The Crime Commission is looking at this. Governor Northam has a package of bills. Individual members are going to have their own ideas. Universal background checks, red flag laws.
So I do support the governor's package of gun safety bills. I think it's a really important issue for my community, for Newport News, to make sure that we get a handle on the gun violence that's out there. I support universal background checks, and most citizens in the Commonwealth also support universal background checks. I think we've studied the problem. Now we need to act on it. Now we need action in the General Assembly. And we've got to be protecting our young people from this terrible gun violence that's in our communities.
What about this idea of the red flag laws where a concerned family member could maybe go to the police, go to a judge, get a ruling that a person who's troubled may at least temporarily have their gun taken away from them?
I would strongly consider supporting those rules, especially because of the increase that we've seen in suicides with handguns. If you've got a family member who is suicidal and you're able to let the police know that they're able to temporarily restrain them from keeping guns, I think that it could save a lot of lives in the Commonwealth when it comes to suicide.
Let's talk about a couple of healthcare issues. The opioid crisis is obviously just that, a crisis. What more can be done? For instance, states have sued the big pharma companies. Some doctors have been charged criminally. What more can be done at the state level?
You know, I think we really need to support our community service boards. They're on the front line of healthcare in our community, and I'm really proud of the Newport News Hampton Community Service Board, and they need more resources so that they can treat more people who have drug addiction. We also need more supportive housing for people who are suffering from drug addiction to make sure the community is supporting them and helping them get through their drug addiction.
What about this growing problem of vaping, especially among young people? Some of the big chains have decided to stop selling e-cigarettes, but there's a vape shop on every other corner all across Hampton Roads.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem that schools, public schools, are dealing with in Hampton Roads, and I would be very open to looking at legislation to make sure that our children aren't becoming addicted to nicotine through vaping.
What would change if Democrats take control of the House?
You know, it's been interesting for me watching what's happened in the General Assembly since my name was not drawn out of that bowl. And, you know, one thing has been on the gun safety issues. If we had had this seat in the House of Delegates, we could have passed a lot of those gun safety bills in this recent General Assembly. So I can tell you number one on my list is gun safety for our citizens, because I think they really are demanding action to keep our communities safe. I think that another thing that's going to change is there's going to be more of an emphasis on green energy in Virginia. I feel that innovation has really been stifled on things like offshore wind and solar, and I think a lot of my Democratic colleagues are really excited about the opportunities and investment and job opportunities in offshore wind. You know, another thing I think we can accomplish in the General Assembly is getting more counselors in our school buildings. Counselors are a wonderful solution to many of the problems we have in schools. They connect students to careers, they help students with mental health issues, they can even help teachers with discipline in the classroom. So I'm a big proponent of making sure there's funding for counselors in every school.
All right, let's wrap things up this way. I'll let you make a closing argument. How about that? This is the third time that you and Mr. Yancey have faced each other. Make your argument about why you should win this time and not him.
You know, I just love serving my community. I want to be a servant leader. I want to be that leader who goes out in the community to figure out what the problems are and talking to experts at the state level to figure out what the solutions can be that we can bring back to the community. And I also promise my community that they will always know where I stand on issues. They will know how I'm going to vote on gun safety. They will know how I'm going to vote on the environment and on women's health. They're not going to have to guess, what is Shelly going to do when she gets up to the General Assembly? I want to make sure that I'm a good communicator and I'm a defender of people in my community.
All right, Shelly Simonds, the Democrat in the 94th District of Newport News, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching.